Now coming up, it's a game against Miami, and I dare say that people are expecting a little bit too much with too much ease. There are too many potential potholes on this road to an ACC championship. Miami could be one of them. I saw them play NC State last week, a very entertaining game. It was 31-30, and they won. They beat that team, and they also have a team like Virginia down the road, which could derail them a little bit. So what is your crystal ball look at the Pitt Panthers in the next several weeks leading up to the end of the season before they get to an ACC championship game?
Let me be very clear here. Pitt will be favored in every one of these games, barring Kenny Pickett suffering a season-ending injury, God forbid, and Pitt should win every one of these games. They're 11.5-point favorites over Miami. Miami does get better athletes. They recruit better, or at least they have better star talent most years, it seems like. So does North Carolina. Guess what? Pitt has the best player on the field in every one of their remaining games. In fact, they might have the best player on the field, period, because Kenny Pickett might win the Heisman Trophy. That's how good he's been this year. They're going to be favored in every game, and let me make this very clear. This is like an acid trip to say as somebody that's rooted for Pitt basically his whole life. I think Pitt is going to actually go out and handle their business in these games. Miami is absolutely going to be tough. The quarterback that's come in for De'Aaron King there since he got hurt has been really good, but Pitt should thump them. They should thump North Carolina. They shouldn't win those games maybe 41-3, but they should win them comfortably. They've averaged a 36-15 margin of victory in their 3 ACC games, and Clemson was one of them. And Georgia Tech, who played Clemson close, was another. Tell me why this team can't go out and continue to impose its will on everybody remaining on the schedule.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think the other thing, as much as this is a real downer on their schedule, that loss to Western Michigan may have been a little bit of a wake-up call, and they can use that moving forward to some of the games that they're going to be heavily favored in, and with a reminder that this kind of stuff could beat you up and really hurt your chances. I want to also ask you about two-pronged question with Penn State, and my apologies to the callers. We're having a little technical difficulties right now. We'll try to get that rectified here because we had a lot of people on the line, I see. But not only did Penn State get absolutely throttled, there was one number that stood out to me in that game. 67 rushing attempts against. They knew it was coming. They couldn't stop it. That's one thing. And then it was the overtime, and I had not seen it play out. I heard about a rule change. I never thought about it until it happened, and it happened in 9 overtimes. It made me realize it's a horrendous overtime format, and it needs immediately to be changed. Do you agree?
I don't like the format. I mean, it was good for a laugh, frankly, watching those two teams just fall all over each other, unable to do anything for such a protracted stretch of time. In fact, I was flipping back and forth with that in the Pitt game just because of the car wreck value that Penn State, Illinois had. I understand why they did it, because they don't want there to be as much wear and tear on the players. Maybe you go with like a series from the 10-yard line starting with the third overtime. You condense the field even more. I know that that's not necessarily going to limit the number of plays, but maybe you just shorten the field and still have it be a 10-yard series. But having these teams go back and forth from the 3 is kind of ridiculous. As to your first point, Bob, 67 rush attempts against, and what was it? I don't even know. Did Illinois crack 400 yards? They had to be close.
They got close, but they didn't crack it.
They got real close. They had 2 guys, one guy go over 200 before he got hurt, and one guy go over 100 easily. That's the real alarming thing. Clifford was not healthy all week. I thought that was a strange sort of way that played out, and Penn State not having any confidence in the backups alarming if you're Penn State and you're recruiting the way they do. But their defense was supposed to be really good.
Right.
That's Illinois running the ball at you. That's not Alabama. That's not Ohio State. It's Illinois. My goodness.
And now Penn State finds themselves 16.5-point underdogs at Ohio State, a game that I think a lot of people thought they may have had a chance at. They've had a win over Ohio State, probably the biggest one that I could recall, I think, in the Franklin era. But
well, there haven't been many big game wins for James Franklin, which is a problem. No, I mean, that's kind of a problem that I think any Penn State fan would agree with. That guy, and this is another example, he's got a couple of them where his team has come up big, but too often in either big games or the occasional stub-your-toe incident like this, they come up small, and he just looks, I don't know, he's a fantastic recruiter. Don't get me wrong, but his game day coaching just leaves so much to be desired.
We're going to go to a break, Chris. When we come back, we'll talk about the Penguins in action tomorrow against Tampa Bay, and they're doing it without 5 of their prime players. 4 of them could be Hall of Famers. We know for sure 2 are. We'll talk about that when we come back right here live on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.